Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen news, this time for the week ending the 6th of August. We take all the latest infos and headlines and then throw them at you like confetti at a wedding, but more news-like. Changes to AtV. So Around the Verse is changing format in the short term. Now every week they're going to have an update and highlight of the progress, blockers and info about Alpha 3.0. They've suspended the studio update portion of ATVs until 3.0 is ready, so not to distract from the work there. They have the final process of content optimization and bug fixing going on now, as well as improving the user interface, and that's all being as polished as possible. The Delta Patcher will feature with Alpha 3.0, but it's going to require some fine-tuning. Any issues or progress will be communicated to us, no matter how good or bad, but the ATV segment is going to be called Burn Down, and it will basically include clips of production meetings, but it's basically mainly a package to receive 3.0 updates and use for the final stages of this release. The production schedule on the website will be updated to match as well, as we will look at in a second. ATV will still have a feature segment where they will deep dive into a mechanic, process, technical feature, or department, as well as delivering some of the latest news. So the schedule report, the actual release windows of the schedule report have stayed the same, other than the Evocati possible start date being adjusted because we're currently in that window. The target and release windows now stand at an Evocati build between the 10th and 17th of August, PTU build between the 18th and 31st of August, and the live build between the 4th and 8th of September. There is a huge focus on the schedule report with the bug fixing process and polish and optimization now. They are literally in the final stages, but there are blockers, there are issues, there are things that they need to solve. They are trying to improve frame rates by increasing performance both server and client side, as well as trying to get as many players in each server as possible. Currently, stability and performance drops as soon as you hit around 15 players in the servers that are playing, so they're obviously trying to improve that. We're also going to see ship locking, racetracks on planets, better interaction with objects and cockpits, rotating and orbiting planets, and better looking space, all now in for Alpha 3.0. So those are some of the features they went, well, we definitely need these because of various reasons, or because they're part of the backbone of the game that we need to get in for Alpha 3.0. So they are adding features, they are realising that some features were needed to be more polished or fixed, and there are occasional blockers as well. So I'll put all that up on the screen, and we'll follow that each week, and hopefully that segment they do on ATV will be enlightening and show some cool stuff. Mega threads. So CIG are making a concerted effort now to organise various news and hot topics into mega threads. You'll see mega threads from ATV each week on the forums, or for ship sales, or whatever. Basically, these are one-stop, all-info shops for conversation on Spectrum on that subject. The idea is to clean up the forums, make them less confusing, and get everyone talking in the same place. I'll include a link to the latest ATV mega thread each week here as well. Locking, stealing, and ownership. So there was some more info given on stealing, ownership for vehicles and ships in Star Citizen. If you have a stolen ship and land at a station, the ATC, the Air Traffic Control, will just give it back to the legal owner, so you effectively lose it. This might be because you haven't stolen the ship, that you might be piloting it for a friend or whatever, so you'll lose it if you take it back to a legal area. If you abandon a ship in space that you don't own as well, you will lose that as well. If you are able to get a vehicle or an item into a ship that you legally own in 3.0, it's likely to persist and not having a criminal effect on you, at least in 3.0. Possibly, if someone reports it as stolen, then you might see you getting a criminality status if it's a vehicle that you've got stowed in your ship. But it's unlikely to get given back to the owner, if you see what I mean. So if you steal a ship, the owner can't just randomly respawn it. You have physical ownership of that ship. You can't sell it right now with 3.0 anyway, but if you log off and log back on, that ship will still be there. If the legal owner wants their ship back, they can either track it down or make an insurance claim. But then making an insurance claim won't despawn the ship. You will still have physical ownership of their ship. They'll have a new one, effectively. The first iteration of ship locking will be in 3.0, giving us some security from people just jacking our ships while we're flying around. For 3.1, they're going to look at different ways to support different playstyles, increase the criminality and reputation feature sets, and in the future, ship condition will affect claims if you still have your ship. So you say, oh, my ship's basically a write-off, I'm going to reclaim on that ship. You'll get a discount if you still own the ship and it's a bit damaged or whatever, compared to if it's being entirely destroyed and unrecoverable, or if it's been stolen. Also, there is another Tumbrel vehicle coming out before the year's end, apparently, and that was a little sneaky peek. He was on Captain Richard's stream, and the next concept sale ship should be the Origin 600i, which is going to be around Gamescom time at the end of August. Let's talk about what Foundry 42 UK have been up to over the last few weeks. The Eclipse stealth ship is having some work done to it, more specifically the torpedo bay, entry ladder, cockpit and flight mode variations. On the concept side as well, they've finished off the Cyclone and they're now working on the 600i with the exterior being fleshed out and has had some interior work done to it as well. I'm very much looking forward to seeing the 600i concept sale. I believe that will probably be towards Gamescom end of August. They've made lots of progress with various Vandal ships. The grey box of the Void Bomber is complete, as well as the Blade now receiving some refinement as well. The Reclaimer is now on its optimization and levels of detail pass phase. So the tech designer also working on the setup of that ship now. The Hull C exterior has nearly completed its detail pass and will be moving on to its levels of detail and damage setup. There's 2 new ships and a personal transport vehicle that they're being worked on too, and we will find out more about them in the future. The graphics guys there, they've been working on the second viewports and the render to texture stuff, focusing more on video comms for that at the moment. The sun shadow system is also being improved to cope with extreme ranges on shadows for planets and moons. For example, a sunset could cast a shadow that can stretch 10 kilometers or more. So they're working on optimizing that, making it look as best as it can, but also make sure it's not too resource intensive. There's been more work on volumetric rendering too for creating cool glass clouds at any scale, and that they're going to look amazing. That's the idea with the volumetric rendering stuff. They want to do cool stuff with the Crusader. There's also been improvements and additions to the GPU particle system. They keep adding more and more effects and VFX and features to that, as well as performance boosts. A huge range of locations have had their final polish in preparation for Alpha 3.0's launch. Also, outpost integration, branding, shaderware, and all that sort of stuff, and all the objects that are going to appear on planets. Spacescaping with dust clouds look and feel looking as best as they can, making space feel more visually appealing with asteroids and better ambience and lots of little tweaks there. There's been lots of optimization for memory usage and general performance boosts. Hurston and Orison's landing zones and gameplay are receiving work too. They are building the new hero landing zones out for the Stanton system. Various work on Squadron 42 missions and levels, including Shuban, are all being polished and wrapped up and that sort of stuff. Weapons have been working on the ship scattergun, the laser repeaters, neutron repeaters, as well as some FPS weapons, the Gemini pistol, the H-29, optics for weapons, as well as the Kastak Arms SMG has also been receiving some work. There have been various improvements to the VFX style of energy weapons as well. Animations are finishing off all the animations that they need, or have finished off all the animations they need for the 3.0 mission givers, and are now refining Miles Eckhart's hand gestures, as well as working to refine further knife takedowns and AI combat. We're going to see a greater range of ages and ethnic groups as well, as they add more scans to their head database. Tech Animation have had a new control app for Maya, improving the workflow there, working with props as well. They've made glass assets and a physics solution for liquids, so it's cost effective resource wise. Older tools are also getting some updates and optimization. CIG are very, and Foundry 42 are very tool-centric, long-term thinking of the project, and they want to get these pipelines and workflows done as efficiently as possible. They've also continue to work on their database, huge database of mocap animations for Squadron 42 and the Persistent Universe. On-foot animations and speeds have been worked out to make them feel good for players and NPCs. We're going to be using the mouse wheel when we're running around to adjust our speed fluidly, so from walk to run to jog, all that sort of jazz. Nbc Gestures and Wild Lines have received work, so they will glance at you or contextually interact with you as you pass and approach them in an appropriate immersive fashion. Also, player versus player versions of the Bounty Hunter missions have been completed with proper. Every month we give away a ship. For August it's a Nox Q. All you need to do is be subscribed to my YouTube channel and comment on any of my Star Citizen videos during that particular month. Do you have any questions about the schedule report, about Alpha 3.0, or Star Citizen's development in general, or for me? Drop them in the comments below. A special thank you to all my patrons who allow me to create the amount of content I do. If you are interested in becoming one of them, links to Patreon as well as everything else we've discussed are below. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the verse.